keen, intuitive diagnostic skills, along with his remarkable ability to receive cues from spirit, he's able to detect organ, glandular, metabolic and energetic imbalances, and he accurately determines which supplements, nutrients and energy healing techniques are needed to restore physical and emotional harmony within the body. Now, Emil gets to the bottom of health and life imbalances, period. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from the University of California, Irvine, and he's earned his doctorate in pharmacy. I mean, that is no slouch,
This is
Lee.
what I just stopped right there, because that is, I think, one of the hardest protocols I can even imagine. Anybody saying, I want to do this, and you go, you're kidding.
Yeah, the amount of years and dedication that takes. So his doctorate in pharmacy from the University of Southern California. Now, he is recognized as one of the top experts in natural medicine and medical intuition. He has appeared on countless radio and television programs, and he's the author of several self-help books, including the best-selling book called You Are Sensitive.
Dr. Emil has special affinity for working with highly empathic, ultra-sensitive people on the planet. I think this is a specialty.
Yes.
Teaching them how to survive and thrive in a world that doesn't understand them. I have a quote. I want to read this quote, and it's in his bio, but this is the one that really took my breath away. Many feel like an outcast, a misfit, lost and alone. Some are often mislabeled with ADHD, bipolar disorder, depression, personality disorders, often subject to harsh prescription medicines, absolutely unnecessary poking and prodding. For many, living life as an ultra-sensitive has been a battle for survival since birth, and it's their little secret until now. That still gives me chills.
I know.
We have needed this information a long time. We deal with a lot of ultra-sensitive people in the metaphysical arena. Dr. Faith, thank you so much for being here. We're going to give it to you, and take it away, sir.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to be with you both today. You know, as an ultra-sensitive empath growing up in the 60s, I did not know what was wrong with me. I couldn't figure it out. My parents loved me dearly. They did everything they could to take care of all of their children. I'm the oldest, but I went through it. I mean, I went through it like a lot of ultra-sensitive empaths did in the day. No one could understand why I suffered from mood swings, palpitations as a young man, anxiety attacks, panic attacks, insomnia, sad all the time, feeling everybody's everything, taking on the pain and suffering from family, friends, and literally everybody across the school campus, across the globe. But back in the day, who knew? We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And for a guy especially, you know, what's depression? In the 1960s, depression, oh, go take an aspirin, go to bed. Oh, go find a friend.
Yeah.
You know, it was too much for me to watch, and began to develop my practice in medical intuition and sat knee to knee or Zoom to Zoom with people as things progressed. I began to, you know, tune in and realize that there are individuals out there that are wired differently than the others. And I want to make a key distinction here. It doesn't mean that ultra-sensitive empaths like myself, like both Monica and yourself, Lee, and others like us are better or superior, but it does mean that we're different. And we require special handling and care in all aspects of our lives. The problem is that most people don't understand that. Many times they end up in the healthcare arena, the traditional healthcare arena, who's doing their darndest to figure it out, but they're missing the whole idea. We don't fit into the norm in many cases. What's normal for some is not normal for ultra-sensitive individuals, because we're literally coded, wired, genetically coded to help people. That's, at the end of the day, that's what the ultra-sensitive empath is here to do, and to rescue the planet when we have some time, which is most of the time.
You know, as I mentioned, the thing that impressed me so much is that it couldn't be a better fit than you're here, because so many of the people that we meet in so many places that we are have these actual, you know, symptoms, and they you know, take us aside and say, I don't know what I'm going to do, this bothers me, I'm seeing this or that, and nobody can figure out what to do.
And they have such gifts.
Oh, yeah.
And yet they're almost punished and disabled from able to be in society because they don't understand what's going on, or the others around them, what's worse, others around them don't understand what's going on from them. I think the worst case I heard from someone in one of our audiences said that her family had committed her to a mental institute, and she came out and finally found her way in how to deal with it. But some of the things they've gone through is horrible.
This is exactly right. I mean, I have situations where they literally will disown the family member. Mm-hmm. You'll actually have family members, even parental units, sadly, who will try and sabotage the gifted ultra-sensitive. It's just so interesting to see how this happens. And the thing about ultra-sensitives that a lot of people understand is you have to be one to know one. Don't they say that about some other famous group? You got to be one to know one. But if you're an ultra-sensitive, you know when you're dealing with someone like yourself. And the issue is that until you know who you are and find somebody to help you, you're going to be lost and alone on this planet, thinking there's something very wrong with you, when in fact you just need to understand who you are, what you're here to do, and how to stay well. There are some tricks to this. But the key is you can't tell. Ultra-sensitives come in all shapes and sizes. We're in all stations of life. We're the auto mechanic, we're the baseball player, we're the 5-star chef, we're the rock and roll guitarist. I mean, we're all over, and this is all over the world. This is not just in your backyard, your town. This is all cultures, all skin colors, everything. It's everywhere. There are ultra-sensitive empaths hiding across the globe. And now they're waking up. This is the appointed time. This is the appointed time. I'm meeting so many individuals like yourself, like you mentioned, that are coming out saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. I need guidance. I'm not like everybody else. They're finally coming out and realizing that. And the thing is, in my opinion, over 50, 60, 70% of the general population is really wired as an ultra-sensitive being. Even some of the quote-unquote bad guys, for me, these are often just misguided ultra-sensitives who never got help, who never could figure out what to do with their lives. So they found a path to express their anger and their frustration. Oftentimes we see that to be the case. So the thing is, though, that if you're an ultra-sensitive empath, you're usually unlike the rest of your family. You're usually the black sheep, as was I. They loved me, they took care of me, but I was alone and trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with me. You often do feel like you're a misfit and outcast on a lonely rock here, and that seems to be a classic event for a lot of people going, what am I doing here? What am I really supposed to be doing? Am I really supposed to be working at McDonald's? That was my first job. That's my first 9-to-5 job. And I learned quickly that that was hard for me to take. And for many ultra-sensitives, they can't handle the routine like that. Many ultra-sensitives are exceptionally intuitive. These are gifted souls. We're all gifted. We're all handed our special gifts. But in this particular case, we're very intuitive. We're very compassionate. We are very emotional, extremely emotional. We're giving, we're healing. We want to fix everybody and everything. And you can pay a toll when you try that too hard, when you're trying too hard to fix everybody. And that's what happens with a lot of ultra-sensitive empaths, hence the issue with chronic fatigue syndrome, ADHD, bipolar, all these energies. We're sensitive to the energies of everything. We are potent receivers of energies from everybody and everything. That's how it works, especially the energies of negative people or sick people or other people. We take it on. And it's important to realize that so you can survive and thrive on this planet.
So where to from here? When someone is able to identify themselves as an empath, they recognize that they are different, what are the tools that they can use in their daily life to help them navigate the environment that we have to kind of embrace?
Well, the first thing to do is, number one, is recognize who you are and that it's okay to be different. Because you're different. I'm sorry. You don't fit in. You don't have a lot of friends. I had 0 friends growing up. I mean, I had people I talked to, but I was not social. So the idea is that you're okay. Most people go around thinking they're not normal. I'm sorry, you're normal, but you're different. And the number one thing, as you asked about the tools, is to take care of your nutrition, number one, your nutrient imbalances, because most ultra-sensitives, because our sensitive aura, our sensitive energy fields, all of our organs are sensitive. We're prone to things like leaky gut syndrome. Have you heard of leaky gut syndrome.
We've heard of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening after a lifetime of not absorbing nutrients, of having gut inflammation, a lot of autoimmune disorders tend to bother us. We tend to be overwhelmed by candida infections that are normally handled by those who are less sensitive. We get blown away by that. Chronic fatigue, as I mentioned, insomnia, mood swings, as we talked about. This is classic ultrasensitive territory. So you want to take care of the nutrient imbalance which are occurring on a regular basis for years and years and decades and decades. You want to heal the gut. You want to eat correctly. You want to take care of the protein deficiency issues, which are a classic case for ultrasensitive. We're malnourished. We're low in magnesium. We're low in potassium. We're low in iodine. All the B vitamins, and this causes weak organ signatures. So that when I tune into individuals and I look at their organ systems, I can tell that there's no strength in those organ systems, particular organ systems, because you're poorly nourished. So it's something that needs to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And is that something you are able to also do? I loved how we said that you get your cue from spirit.
He's a medical intuitive.
You are a
That's
medical
exactly where it
intuitive.
comes from.
And is this something too that you're able to do from distance work?
Distance work, yeah.
Absolutely. I work with clients, all over the globe. So yes, and I love doing it because I can tune into the signatures from anywhere. It's been a blessing to be able to reach out and meet these individuals who actually had the same kind of life and the life issues that I did and still do at times.
Yeah.
But the key thing, Monica and Lee, is to understand that you're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yeah.
And you're here to do something very important. And you are worthy. That you should be filled with self-esteem. Mm-hmm. You are good enough. You came here to be brilliant. You didn't come here for a mediocre life.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
What you do for a 9-to-5 job does not paint the picture of who you really are necessarily. Now, there are some people who love their 9-to-5s. That's cool. But that's typically not what we're here to do. We're out to do things like what you're doing, Lee, what I'm doing, and Monica, and people who like us. The beautiful thing that's happening right now is this awareness that I simply didn't have. We didn't have internet. What did we have in the 60s? Cell phones, that didn't come until 30 years later. But so you didn't know. If you met somebody, you thought they were kind of weird. The misfit, the outcast. Like, I know you. I could tell you nothing. So the awareness that you're here to do something and be something special, and that's what I'm here to teach. And especially for the men and the women, but for the men because, hey, I went through it, and it's not fun. It's not easy, but it's important to do your work. You came here to do something brilliant. You are brilliant. Be that.
I know you have. There are lots you can continue, and I don't want to interrupt that because I know there's other things that are there. But along the way, I would like to hear some stories, some success stories, and perhaps some the things that have happened, which are gee whiz stuff, because everybody loves to hear that.
Yeah, I was actually doing a metaphysical fair in Sedona a few years back, and my first book came out. This is the second edition that you've seen, but the first edition came out in 2007. I did a fair. I was doing book signings, and up comes this middle-aged lady, very pleasant, and she says, "Can I get an autographed copy of your You Are Sensitive book for my husband?" I said, "I'd be happy to." And I asked, "What's his name?" Jim. So I'm to Jim. Always believe in your sensitivity, handed her the book. And I've got a line of people behind her, and I'm signing books. 20 minutes later comes this guy, 300 pounds, 6'6". He's holding that book, and he's behind this person that I'm working with. And going, he's holding, "Did you write this?" I said, "Yes."
Yeah, I can just picture it. I can just picture it completely.
Yeah, we sign books. We know what you're going for. Yeah.
Yes. I said, "Yes." He said, and he pauses for a minute, and then tears start streaming down his face, and he says, "How did you know?"
How did you know?
How did you know? It was one of the defining moments, and then I think I'm on the right track here. There are lots and lots of stuff like that, but people, they want to know that someone understands. They don't want to be misunderstood. We've been misunderstood all of our lives.
Yes.
We are good enough. You are good enough. you're better than good enough.
Well, you've
And that's
hit
what I'm here
the
to teach.
you've hit the self-worth issue right between the eyes, and that's a lot of it. Almost everybody we've encountered with those symptoms doesn't believe that they should even be here.
Exactly. And, and there's a lot of different challenges we face, even from, things like hygiene and lifestyle issues that ultra-sensitives have challenges with. So it's about understanding that these things are fixable and that there's nothing wrong with you, that you need an understanding and awareness of who you are, and then take the right steps to hydrate yourself, put nutrition in get your glands balanced.
So much to bring an awakening and awareness to the planet. And her name is Caroline Corey. And I want to make sure Caroline is on the Zoom feed with us. Caroline, are you there?
I am. Hi, everyone. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Caroline. And
Hi, Caroline.
she has so many amazing things that she's doing.
It's true, and I get excited because this really is the kind of thing that Kryon has talked about. It's the crossover that we've been looking for. Caroline Corey is an award-winning filmmaker, author, and the founder of Omnium Method of Energy Medicine and Consciousness Studies. So, as a child and throughout her life, Caroline has had numerous extrasensory and paranormal experiences, if you might imagine, which led her to become deeply connected spiritually to the study of consciousness, existential topics, and the mechanics of the universe.
Now, Caroline is considered a pioneer in the field of meditation and consciousness science. She has worked with world-renowned scientists and experts from Harvard Medical School, Harvard Smithsonian's, IONS, and Stanford University, conducting scientific experiments on the correlation between consciousness, health, and the physical body. She's developed revolutionary methodologies for clearing deep-seated trauma from the subconscious mind and from the cellular memory with impressive accuracy and speed. After teaching energy medicine and consciousness studies for over a decade, Caroline founded Omnium Media, which is an entertainment and media platform which tackles thought-provoking topics on the human condition and the nature of reality.
She continues to lecture and coach on various mind-over-matter subjects and appears regularly as a guest expert on supernatural phenomena. You might have seen this in major conferences, television shows such as The Unexplained with William Shatner, Ancient Aliens, and History's Greatest Mysteries with Lawrence Fishburne. Her films include Superhuman, The Invisible Made Visible, Among Us, and A Tear in the Sky. Caroline, welcome to our program.
Thanks so much for having me.
Go ahead.
I want to just feel so blessed and feel like we've won the lottery that you are joining us this evening. First of all, acknowledging all the amazing things you've done. And I want to know, how did your work into the filmmaking industry begin?
Well, actually, I started out at a very young age having experiences, as you mentioned before. And from there, I started to, as I grew up, I wanted to understand how is it possible that you see subtle energy or you see information without anybody telling you what it is beforehand. You would see things that would happen to someone or with someone, or the root cause of a medical issue and things like that. So because I wanted to understand the mechanics of it, I started to experiment myself with different types of consciousness methodologies. I started to investigate different types of meditations, perceiving dimensions and things like that. And after I came up with several methodologies for healing and consciousness expansion, I started working with hundreds of people and teaching hundreds of people around the world. And we would get validation after validation after validation that I thought, wait a minute, this stuff is real. This is not paranormal. This is normal. We just don't know how it works. And so I started working with scientists. And as we started getting incredible results with scientists, I thought the general public needs to know about this. And I started to make films. The first one, well, I mean, I made a few, and also I had studied film like a long time ago, but I never did anything with it. So this was the perfect opportunity to start making films on these subjects.
I love that you brought everything that makes up you into an expression of what you have discovered. And so if anyone's listening here and you've kind of studied a degree or you've had a job and you think, how is this relevant to my life? I think everything we do in life is always driving us forward to the path that's yet to come. So,
and something had to happen early on, I would imagine. Your experiences with mind over matter or anything psychic that actually, got you to start even looking. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, the first experience is when I was 5 years old. This is where I remember I was just there, and all of a sudden I saw these beings, these light beings that just showed up. And I realized that I could see them, hear them, sense them, but nobody else could. And so, they kind of showed me how we were communicating. Obviously, it was telepathic, and how my brain was translating their energy, their thought form into a language I could understand. And so they told me that we are the same lineage. So I could kind of see where I had come from, like what my lineage was beyond the human, obviously, and how you are never severed from that lineage. That connection and that communication continues, whether you like it or not. And for me, they wanted me to ask for it, like to kind of intentionally and consciously maintain that connection and communication, because ultimately that was going to be with me the rest of my life to kind of guide me, so to speak. I'm sure, Lee, you can relate to that, Monica as well. And so that experience was so significant that it's like super clear in my mind to this day. And what happened was, it was this imprint of a specific frequency in my brain that allowed me for the rest of my life to kind of go back to it, so to speak. And when I'm there, it just opens up everything. So that's why it was extremely significant. That's the first experience. And then later on, of course, I'm 5 years old. It just happened, right? But it was later, as I grew up, that I wanted to dissect and understand how it happened so that I can teach others and help others with it. And so I had other experiences after that, but I would say that was the most significant one that got me on this journey.
Most of the people who would watch this show that know me, and there's a whole lot of people watching this show around the world and on YouTube and all that may not know me like some of the others, will know that I am an advocate for measuring consciousness. That we've always said that consciousness is not a subjective science, it is a real science, and can be, there'll come a day when it'll be part of science. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly what I was trying to demonstrate, with the scientists and the scientific experiments I've done, because it was very, very clear that when we did experiments, for example, focusing on water to change the pH in water. So just for the folks who are listening, when we do a scientific experiment, it's very rigorous, standards. It's not just like a one-time thing. What happens is we measure, we take we collect the data over a period of time. We call that a baseline. So, for example, in the case of water, we would measure the water over several days, over several hours, and then exactly, let's say at 3:00, we would focus our intention on the water and see if we could change the pH exactly at that time. And then let's say at 3:30, we would stop doing that. And then we would repeat it again and again. And then we would just draw the data and see between 3 and 3:30, did something occur exactly at that time. So this time correlation that we would end up having was astounding. It was exactly during those moments that, we would see the significant change in pH. And that's how we draw scientific conclusions. So we did that with water. We did that with DNA. We did that with, several devices, electronic devices, electrical devices, thermal devices. And so when you have those types of measurements that with that type of correlation over and over, then you can't deny that it is the consciousness, the intention, the focus of your consciousness that manifested this physiological change. And so, like I said, like you were saying, it's 100% real, and it's 100%. The only difference, I think people have a hard time with that one, or mainstream scientists, when we talk about science. So what happens is that the subjective aspect is also part of it. So for example, one day I'm going to be able to change the pH in water by 1 decimal. The next day, I'm going to be able to change it by 3 decimal. And then the third day, maybe by 2 decimal or by none, and then go back. So what happens, it's because it's my consciousness is my entire being that is interacting with the object, and so or the substance. And so I am not the same every day. As you know, I am energy, I am frequency, I am emitting and receiving energy. Some days I'm tired, some days I'm, frustrated or whatever. So all of these come into account when you are creating that sort of scientific data collection. So that's the reason why sometimes on the day, for example, that it doesn't work, the mainstream scientists will go, see, it doesn't work. But wait a minute, technically it should never work. For me to be able to move a physical object that is in a Faraday cage, even if I did that once and never did it again, technically it should have never happened, you see. And so that's where they don't want to go there. And that's the struggle we have with science.
Indeed it is. And we have so many examples ourselves in the stuff that we have seen and done. Here's another one. If you start opening consciousness, you have to start talking about multidimensional things, because I believe consciousness has a multidimensional aspect to it. But then you get into, it has to also, I think, have a spiritual complement to it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This spiritual aspect is also so important. So, for those who have a hard time, I feel so blessed and so lucky that at a young age, I was able to have this direct connection with spirit, with non-human consciousness and intelligences that I know for a fact that it was real. And so, by the way, I wanted to also say that as I grew up, I was still processing what had happened throughout my childhood. So I went into the field of psychology. I went to college to study psychology to first figure out what was going on with my mind. I was like, maybe I'm crazy. Like, maybe I made this up. Maybe it's a projection. Maybe it's a hologram. I wanted to make sure I didn't have some sort of malfunction in the brain. So I studied psychology. By the time I got to the graduate school, I was like, this is ridiculous. It's like I was way past, what they were teaching, which was very intellectual. And we are talking about unbound, infinite consciousness. We're not talking about just the brain projecting images and things like that. So I was convinced I wasn't crazy. And so that got me more interested and more convinced that this was very real. I forget now what your question was, but
you're answering my question, even if you've forgotten what it was.
Spirituality.
Yeah, and that is that spirituality belongs right at the center of the study. I don't think you can study consciousness without admitting that there has to be some element of spirituality in it.
Yeah, exactly. So once I became very convinced and I realized it's not just a psychological thing, it's a spiritual thing. That was the
Yes.
Yeah, it's a spiritual thing. It's your being. It's who you are that is interacting with life. It's not just how you process cognitive information. So it's 100%. It's even Einstein at the end of his life started talking about the soul and the spirit, because science is going to go as far as it's going to go. At one point, it's going to hit that wall, and that wall is admitting that